Welcome to episode 3, the Local Government Forum for the Building Green 2022, the digital conference. Building Green is the flagship campaign for PHILGBC events and consists of year-round activities that encourage participation in the green building advocacy. I am Sarah Alpapara from the PHILGBC National Secretariat, and I will be today's facilitator. Thank you to the PHILGBC Board of Trustees for initiating this event. Board of Trustees Chair, Mr. Edgar Sapidong, Vice President and Chief Sustainability Officer of Arthaland Corporation, Vice Chair, Ms. Rowena Ramos, Principal of Ecotectonica Inc., and Secretary, Ms. Elizabeth Mendoza, Managing Director of Monocrete Construction Philippines. Treasurer, Mr. Ramon Rufino, CEO, NEO Property Management. The members of the board, Ms. Catherine Ilagan, President and COO of Philinvest Alabang, Mr. Felino Palafox Jr., Principal, Palafox Associates, Mr. Hener Liwanag, Junior Partner, GF and Partners Architects, Mr. Luis Chamon, Country Manager, Sangoban Philippines, Ms. Audrey Belpo, Managing Director, World Home Depot Corporation, Mr. Francisco Arellano, Consultant, Maynilad Water Services, Inc., and Mr. Gabriel Maria Angelo Cascante. I would also like to acknowledge the CEO of the PHILGBC, Mr. Christopher de la Cruz, the Executive Director, Ms. Maria Ana Tungol, and the PHILGBC National Secretariat for organizing this conference. We would like to thank our members and sustaining corporate sponsors that support the programs of the PHILGBC and for making our activities possible. Our diamond sustaining sponsor, NEO Property Management Inc., our gold sustaining sponsor, Wall Vision Corporation, and our silver sustaining sponsors, Arthaland Corporation, Daikin Air Conditioning Philippines, Ecotectonica, Firefly Electric and Lighting Corporation, GF and Partners Architects, Gigatech Inc., KPI Elevators, Monocrete Construction Philippines, Sangoban Philippines, SMCC Philippines, Surface Repair Solutions, and World Home Depot Corporation. We would like to thank the following sponsors and strategic partners for their support in making this Building Green Conference 2022 possible. Our diamond sustaining sponsor and national secretariat sponsor, NEO Property Management Inc., our gold sustaining sponsor, Wall Vision Corporation. Our BG 2022 gold strategic partners, Aboitiz Infracapital Economic Estates, City Homes Builder and Development, our BG 2022 silver strategic partners, First Balfour, Daikin Air Conditioning Philippines, Wall Vision Corporation, and our BG 2022 bronze strategic partners, AGC Asia Pacific, Botanica Nature Residences, Philinvest City, Daytime Incorporated, FPD Asia Property Services, and Monocrete Construction Philippines. Before we continue, please be reminded of the following event guidelines. The webinar will be recorded by the PHILGBC National Secretariat for documentation purposes. We encourage active participation during the event. You may ask your questions using the question box in the GoToWebinar panel. Questions that you will raise will be addressed during the discussion period. Upon request, an electronic certificate of attendance will be issued by the PHILGBC National Secretariat to your registered email address, provided that you are present for more than 50% of the allotted time for each session, have completed the feedback survey, which will be sent to your registered email address after the event, and requested a copy of your certificate through events@philgbc.org. The Local Government Forum features our local government solutions that address their environmental challenges that are unique to their jurisdiction. For this episode, Honorable Marlene Abigail Binay will be sharing the sustainability programs of the City of Makati. Mayor Abby is the second among the 5 children of former Vice President Jejomar C. Binay and former Makati Mayor Dr. Elenita Sombilio Binay. She holds a bachelor's degree in human ecology, major in human settlements and planning from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and a Juris Doctor degree from the Ateneo School of Law. After passing the bar in 2002, she served as House Representative of Makati's 2nd District from 2017 to 2016 and was first elected as Makati Mayor in 2016. She has been advocating inclusive and sustainable development through policies and initiatives that promote resilience and climate change adaptation and mitigation, including established the country's first disaster risk reduction and management academy at the University of Makati to produce certified DRRM practitioners, and invested weather forecasting and modern disaster response equipment and emergency kits and go bags distributed to residents, students, and city government employees to boost disaster preparedness and resilience at the grassroots level. In 2021, Makati joined the Race to Resilience campaign of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to help communities build resilience and improve the city's local climate change action plan. Recently, Mayor Abby officially declared a state of climate emergency in Makati, calling on the business sector, communities, and other stakeholders to take an active part in mitigating the adverse effects of climate change. Now, on her 3rd term, Mayor Abby currently holds key positions in various international organizations such as CityNet, United Cities and Local Governments Asia Pacific, World Smart Sustainable Cities Organization, Local Governments for Sustainability, Climate Finance Leadership Alliance, and the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy, among others. We also have a message from Honorable Jerry Treñas, City Mayor of Iloilo. He also served as the City Mayor of Iloilo in 2001 to 2010. He then served as the representative of the Lone District of Iloilo City from 2010 to 2019. He was the Minority Floor Leader, Commission on Appointments for the 17th Congress, member of the House of Representatives Electoral Tribunal, and member Committee on Justice for the 16th Congress. Chairman, Good Government and Public Accountability. He was Vice Chairman, Committee on Trade and Industry, and Vice Chairman, Committee on Local Government. Mayor Treñas was raised by his loving parents, Constitutional Commissioner Efrain B. Treñas and Soledad Treñas. His grandfather, Potencio P. Treñas, was a former senator of the Republic. He earned his Bachelor of Arts, major in Political Science degree in 1978 at the Ateneo de Manila University, and pursued a Bachelor's of Law degree in Ateneo de Manila University School of Law in 1982 and graduated with honors. In 2018, the League of Cities of the Philippines presented him with a leadership award in recognition and appreciation of his leadership as National President of the League from 2009 to 2010. In 2021, he was Presidential Lingkod Bayan Award regional winner for outstanding government workers by the Civil Service Commission. Representing Mayor Treñas is Engineer Neil Raveno, who will be presenting the sustainability programs of Iloilo City. Engineer Ravena is the Acting City Environment Natural Resources Officer of Iloilo City, Environment and Natural Resources Office. He is a graduate of the Central Philippines University with a degree in electrical engineering and a certified board passer. He also holds a Master in Public Management degree from the Ateneo de Manila University and is a certified pollution control officer. He is part of the technical working group and the head of the Secretariat of the Iloilo City Solid Waste Management Board, chaired by City Mayor Jerry P. Treñas. With at least 20 years of extensive experience on solid waste management, he has championed the development and implementation of solutions to address challenges on solid waste management, especially during the pandemic. Finally, Engineer Crystal Cosido Combon will be presenting sustainability programs of the City of Mandaue. Engineer Combon is a licensed civil engineer with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of San Carlos Technological Center. She has been with the city government of Mandaue since 2009 in various roles in the city engineer's office. She was appointed as officer in charge of the Office of the Building Official in 2019, which also serves as the Green Building Office of the city and the Secretariat of the Mandaue City Green Building Board. We will be opening the floor for questions after all the presentations from our three speakers. You may send your questions for our speakers using the questions box and will be addressed during the open forum. Following the discussion, Mr. Edgar Sabidong, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the PHILGBC, will be delivering this episode's closing remarks. For our first presentation, let us welcome Honorable Marlene Abigail Binay, City Mayor of Makati.
The distinguished Board of Trustees and members of the Philippine Green Building Council, my fellow local chief executives and public servants, other forum participants, good afternoon. Today's forum, organized by PHILGBC, provides an excellent platform for local government leaders and urban planners to share and exchange initiatives and innovations in greening the built environment. As you may know, I recently declared a state of climate emergency in Makati City. The declaration is intended to accelerate climate action among all stakeholders of the city, including the business sector. We are in a race against time. We must get our act together if we are to reduce the adverse effects of climate change while increasing our adaptive capability. Based on the projected climate change scenario for 2050, Makati will be experiencing more days hotter than 35 degrees Celsius, decreasing number of dry days, and increasing volume of rainfall. The city's greenhouse gas emissions are expected to continue rising, especially with the continuous infrastructure developments done by private investors. Currently, Makati has 1,106 low-rise buildings, 551 medium-rise buildings, and 200 high-rise buildings. There are 27 ongoing high-rise projects being closely monitored by the Office of the City Building Official for compliance with green building standards and other relevant laws. We also have a total of 13 LEED certified buildings and 9 LEED registered buildings. To fast-track the adoption of green building practices that will increase energy efficiency and reduce carbon footprint, we will soon enact the Makati Green Building Code. What is unique with our proposed Green Building Code is that we shall be granting incentives and awards to owners and developers whose buildings have complied with the provisions and requirements set forth in the ordinance. These incentives shall be in the form of the following: RPT tax credit, additional floor area ratio through bonus density approach, marketing support and incentives for particular types, and the Makati City Green Building Award to be granted annually by the city. Together with the private sector, we have focused on the construction of elevated pathways and underpasses as part of our pedestrianization program. Today, Makati is a walkable city with plenty of green spaces. The city has more than 44,000 trees and a total of 40 parks to give our residents and workers respite from the concrete and steel buildings lining the city streets. The city government has also been actively promoting the use of green technology and vertical greening among private and public buildings. In public buildings, we are already incorporating green walls, vertical gardening, and rooftop gardening, particularly in public schools, barangay halls, and city hall. On the other hand, while our Green Building Code is not yet in effect, private developers are encouraged to construct their buildings in accordance with the criteria set for green building. In exchange, we grant them development incentives such as additional floor area ratio or FAR and flexibility in land use. This is among the provisions of our risk-sensitive comprehensive land use plan and zoning ordinance, which I am proud to add is another pioneering achievement of Makati. Under sections 41.4E and 46.5 of our zoning ordinance, development incentives are provided to green buildings certified by a third-party organization like LEED, Green, and EDGE through the innovative techniques or design approach and bonus incentives approach respectively. To date, the city has already granted 11 private developments with development incentives through these approaches. The end goal is an urban environment filled with iconic spaces that can withstand climate-related hazards, such as strong storms or high temperatures. In 2017, we enacted the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Ordinance of Makati, also called the GHG Code, which institutionalized the city's GHG reduction program. It requires private companies and business establishments, government offices, and tricycle operators in the city to submit an annual GHG emission inventory report to City Hall. From 2018 to 2020, thousands have complied. We expect the numbers to increase in the coming years, which will provide us the baseline data we need to properly track our progress with our GHG reduction targets and identify gaps that must be addressed. This will help us in tailor-fitting our climate initiatives. In 2019, we launched the Greenhouse Gas Biggest Loser Challenge project. The project is aimed to promote public awareness and generate support for the ordinance and to recognize the efforts of various sectors to reduce their carbon footprint. We selected 3-star hotels in the city as pilot participants and encouraged management to implement green initiatives. As far as we know, the GHG Biggest Loser Challenge is an original concept that no other local government unit in the country had done before. Using the GHG toolkit developed by the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, we computed the GHG consumption of the participants, specifically on fuel and electricity. We were able to establish the baseline data on the initial year and identified which participant achieved the biggest reduction in GHG consumption in the succeeding year. Aside from the knowledge and technology we shared with the participants, we rewarded our very first winner with a 200,000 peso cash prize. In 2023, we will be launching the GHG Biggest Loser Challenge among our 33 barangays. The GHG management concept is no longer new to them. Our massive information drive through online webinars during the pandemic has prepared them for the upcoming challenge. To date, construction works are underway for the Makati Subway, the country's first intra-city railway system. It is another PPP undertaking with no cash out on the part of the city. The entire system will link the city's first and second districts with terminal stations linked to major roads and railway systems. This legacy project will directly benefit some 600,000 residents and 5 million workers who commute to and from Makati every day. According to feasibility studies, the subway will lead to 270,000 fewer cars in the streets of Makati by 2048, with a projected reduction of 2.3 million tons of carbon dioxide annually in greenhouse gas emissions by 2048. Recently, I signed an agreement with the Korea International Cooperation Agency, or KOICA, to establish a smart public transport system. The project involves the development of a public transport master plan, establishment of a public transport information communications technology system, pilot operation of electric vehicle bus service, establishment of an EV bus depot, and capacity building of officials and personnel. Our partner has agreed to shell out $13 million to fund the project. It is targeted to be operational by 2025. Meanwhile, at City Hall, we continue to automate processes to make services more efficient, convenient, and safe while reducing our carbon footprint. Our PPP-led digital initiatives, the Makati Zen Card, the Makati Zen app, and public Wi-Fi project, continue to improve residents' access to government services and assistance amid the pandemic. We also have other projects in the pipeline meant to reduce our carbon footprint and promote sustainable development. These include the procurement of an entire fleet of electric vehicles for the city government and using solar panels in public schools and government offices, which will minimize energy consumption and ensure continuity of services during calamities. From experience, we have learned that government leaders should involve the private sector in creating innovative and actionable plans to transform cities into resilient and sustainable communities. With strong commitment and transparency, the government can attract potential investors and partners in implementing big ticket projects. We hope that what we are doing in Makati will encourage other localities to look for opportunities to make a difference and contribute to the global effort to create a healthier, safer environment for future generations. Thank you very much.
Our next presentation will be a message from Honorable Jerry Treñas, City Mayor of Iloilo, followed by the presentation of Engineer Neil Ravenna on Iloilo's sustainability programs.
Iloilo City has always been committed to maximizing our potentials in protecting the environment to lessen the impacts of climate change. That is why we have put premium on environmental management in the roadmap we are using as a guide. It has rationalized esplanade operations, improved all plazas, and initiated closer engagements with the ENR and other stakeholders for our green programs. Alongside rapid urbanization, we partnered with some organizations to embark on environment-friendly activities for sustainable development here in Iloilo City. We could not have achieved what we have now if not for our partners, and that is why I'm very grateful to organizations and agencies we collaborate with because they help build better and more adaptive communities. With the many dreams I have for my beloved city, one remains closest to my heart, and that is to make Iloilo a sustainable city where we meet the needs of the present without sacrificing the ability of our future to meet their own. Iloilo City, smack right at the heart of the Philippines, has become one of the top tourist destinations in the country. But it is home to Ilonggos who face the risks brought about by natural and human-induced hazards due to the geographic location, including its social vulnerabilities. However, we remain steadfast in our best practice as we double our efforts in creating a city that is resilient and sustainable amidst socio-economic challenges brought about by the current pandemic. Developments did not take a backseat. Rather, they continue to drive us towards economic progress. We have finalized the updated comprehensive land use plan to keep track with improvements and competitiveness of the vibrant and livable metropolis. Here are some of our recent green initiatives. Koi Lagoon and Butterfly Garden, a project in partnership with PEDC and Global Business Power at the La Paz Plaza that will aim to inspire the community to go green. The Butterfly Garden will feature 24 food plants and 4 common butterfly species. Iloilo City Garden of Love, located along Commissioner Efrain Treñas Boulevard, Nabitasan, La Paz, maintained by the Iloilo City Government Beautification Program. Iloilo City main and major streets greening program, the planting of ornamental plants and fruit-bearing trees in open spaces, placing of trash bins in public places in Iloilo City, solar lamp posts in the streets and in the waiting sheds, seedling dispersal facilitated by the Iloilo City Agriculturist Office to be planted in open spaces in Iloilo City and the subdivisions. Some of our environmental projects in the works are Iloilo Beach Forest, a 3-hectare project which will be implemented in partnership with the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the Department of Public Works and Highways, and Globe Philippines. Iloilo City Tree Park in Lanit, Haro, a 3-hectare tree park with endemic native local trees. Green tunnels along the bike lanes in Diversion Road, mini forests in subdivision open spaces in Grand Plains, Altachera, Ledesco, Puerto Real. Mangrove Economic Park. A 35-hectare mangrove forest will be developed with the support of project partners, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and Global Business Power. Tree planting and coastal cleanup activities are just a start of our efforts in mitigating climate change. We are also looking into the practicability of using renewable energy sources. And we have been providing real property tax incentives to commercial buildings using renewable energy. All these initiatives will never be put to action without the support from the public and the private sectors. We have always put premium in collaborating with partners because I believe that it is only when the LGU and the private sector work harmoniously together that we can maximize our potentials in creating a progressive, green, and sustainable communities. I would like to express my utmost gratitude to the Philippine Green Building Council for gathering the LGUs as we share best practices in our strategic, effective, and appropriate green initiatives that address environmental challenges.
We would now pass the audio to Engineer Ravenna for his presentation on Iloilo's sustainability programs.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone. Uh, Experience circularity, pursue generation to pursue the local government forum in Iloilo City. I would like to start my presentation with a brief history of Iloilo River, for I believe that Iloilo River was the motivation and inspiration why Iloilo City pursue the green infrastructure initiatives as the green building of the city of Iloilo. Next slide, please. Biodiversity starts in the distant past and then points towards the future. Next slide, please. Iloilo River is not a river but an estuary. Estuary is an extension of the sea. Iloilo Bacano estuary was possessed between 6,000 to 15,000 years ago. Level rise flooded by low-lying port and city in subsistence. The flow dynamics is influenced by the fall of the tide. Next slide, please. Historical significance of Iloilo River. Opening port to international trade. Development of sugar industry provided safe harbor for the loading and unloading of Panay and Negros sugar bound for other countries. Iloilo soon emerged one of the biggest trade in the country, as Iloilo City was once named the Queen City of the South. Next slide. Iloilo Bachano River generates brackish water influenced by salt water from Guimaras Strait and fresh water from Dungon Creek, Calahunan Creek, and other tributaries. It provides habitats for a large numbers of organisms, fish, crabs identified including presence of migratory birds, and home to 23 mangrove species found in the Philippines. Next. The creation of Iloilo Bachano River Development Council as a policy support. Next slide, please. Created in 2002 by the city government, members and composed of agencies and mandates of Iloilo River, academia, and private sector within Iloilo City. This provided venue for participatory discussion and joint action relative to pollution control, self-management and flooding, port development, heritage conservation and tourism, parks development, and informal settlements. Next. Vision for Iloilo River, a vibrant river that displays aesthetic harmony of nature, built heritage reflected of the people's culture environment to reveal true urban treasure, provide socio-economic opportunities to enrich well-being's quality of life and creates dynamic and cohesive resource structure that integrates environmental protection, ecotourism, and sustainable management practices. Next. Strategic initiatives to address issues and challenges in the creation of Esplanade. The problems, congested waterways, demolition of illegal structures, and the before and after pictures. Next. Clearing of illegal structure and obstruction of the waterways. Next. Presence of water lilies because of the high phosphate in the water quality of Iloilo River. Next. Mangrove planting to support the construction of the esplanade. Next slide, please. The before and after pictures of the dilapidated ships. Next slide, please. Improvement of fish port and transfer of 30 fishing vessels. Removal of 129 uncompliant fish pens to increase fish population and to avoid siltation along Iloilo River. Removal of fish pens. Removal of less than 1 million cubic meter of silt to avoid flooding. Removal of 12 tons of garbage on the average of solid waste on the average and the Iloilo River. Next. Regular cleanup events organized by DNR, City Enro, and other stakeholders along Iloilo River in the mangrove areas. Next. Promotion of low-cost water treatment technologies to reduce water pollution on Iloilo River and based on the monitoring of the water quality of Iloilo River. Next slide, please. Additional construction of engineered sanitary landfill in Calahunan, Mandurriao. This is to address the leachate discharge of the old dump site of the Iloilo City. Next slide. Relocation and informal settlers to ensure safety of the residents and at the same time to address the presence of informal settlers along Iloilo River. Next. Mangrove planting in various parts of the river to improve the ecosystem productivity, and this is to ensure of the slope protection of the esplanade. Next slide, please. The transformation development of the community. Next. Esplanade is a 1.2-kilometer flood control project. Commuter traffic dispersion road became a shared road 3 months after its completion, where residents troop the area regularly for walk and jog within 200 to 300 visitors daily. And this inspired the Iloilo City to prioritize pedestrianization instead of using it as a road for motorized vehicle. Next slide, please. It is designed by Paulo Alcazaran, landscape, the pathwalk, view deck, and berthing area. Esplanade 1 is a total total length of 6,842 meters or 6.8 kilometers. It supports walking and healthy lifestyle and already have bike lanes. Next slide. So this encouraged and promoted a road sharing along Diversion Road. Next slide, please. And events organized by Iloilo City, fun run held annually during the Nagyang Festival, walk a mile in senior citizen participated by 1,000 senior citizens, Charter Day fun run, of 30,000 runners and walkers. Next. So it promoted road sharing that organizations already scheduled walk and run activities along Esplanade and Diversion Road. We have also Iloilo Bike Festival every March and participated by an average of 6,000 cyclists. Cycling, walking, and jogging is already a daily activity on these infrastructures. Next. Comprehensive bike plan was also submitted by Iloilo City to the Department of Public Works and Highways to implement the 20.983 kilometer for bike lanes for a U-loop and the city proper. Next. For policy advocacy, a city ordinance in 2014 requiring all buildings in the city with parking areas to provide a safe bicycle parking zone. An executive order of the mayor also was creating a bicycle council and mandating the same to prepare a bicycle master plan and formulate policies. Bike lane plan of Iloilo City completed in June 2016 and select road connecting major universities with active bike lane through Regulation Ordinance 2020-084 on August 2020. Next. Regular activities at the Esplanade. Next. So activities in the Iloilo River along Esplanade, a private investor started a pedal boat ride in Iloilo Esplanade on December 2016. Next. Skateboarding. The Iloilo City constructed a skate rink in the Esplanade for skateboarding. Next slide, please. We also planted trees along Iloilo River Esplanade for strolling and sightseeing. Riverside dining. Because of the Esplanade, we inspired the business sector to open their economic activity in the Esplanade. Next. Iloilo Dinagyang Festival Fluvial Procession in honor of Santo Niño enters the Iloilo River and ends up in the front of Iloilo Customs House building. Next. Next slide. Special events along Iloilo River, the backdrop in hosting of international conferences, paddling, and dragon boat racing. Next. Positive results and impact of River Esplanade. It is number one, advocacy of healthy lifestyle, mangrove reforestation and rehabilitation, volunteer cleanup activities, enhance ecosystem, enhance public awareness on the effects of climate change and need for mitigation, widen community participation, increase in tourist arrivals, increase in business registration and employment, improvement of urban design and landscape, increase in public-private partnership investment. Next. Here are the three parks network that our mayor mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. It is located in Barangay Ingori, La Paz, the Bamboo Setum, with an area of 12 hectares. Next slide, please. The mangrove forest in Barangay Naktakan, which is 35 hectares of mangrove trees. Iloilo Tree Park and Barangay Lanet, which is which has a land area of 3 hectares. And the third is the Iloilo Beach Forest, which is located at Barangay Boulevard, Molo, Iloilo City, a 1.6 hectares. This is exclusive for a beach trees to be planted along the coastline of Iloilo City. Proposed mangrove eco park and Barangay Sook, Arevalo, with land area approximately of 2 hectares. For we are initiating mangrove planting because mangroves actually is 4 times in relation to carbon sink to an ordinary tree. Next slide, please. Promotion of the use of renewable energies with incentives. Regulation Ordinance 2009-358, encouraging all household entities to utilize energy from renewable sources like solar panels and providing real property tax incentives thereof. Next slide, please. Circularity and waste management. Next slide, please. So we have completed the on-site waste analysis of characterization survey, secondary data collection, conduct interviews with relevant stakeholders, and wax samples sent to Germany for calorific value evaluation. Next slide, please. So APW ICLEI, Developing Plastic Waste-Free Cities, Project Milestone, Plastic Waste Management Strategy, Action Planning, and Technical Infrastructure Solutions of Technical Design, Operational Details, Financial Estimates, and Support in Funding Source. Next slide, please. So here are management. We have IEC Materials, which is a grant and sponsored by GTSET and Central Philippine University for the reduction of plastic waste in Iloilo City, more specifically on the coastal barangays and barangays along Iloilo River. Next slide, please. So the project donated to 13 pilot barangays and conducted a Haro River cleanup. Next slide, please. We also conducted a skill workshop, assessment results and occupational safety, gender and health training, planning and programming training workshop or social behavior change integrated in the solid waste management to elevate the information education campaign. Next slide, please. Policy advocacy, Regulation Ordinance 2013-403, regulating the use of biodegradable plastic shopping bags as wrapping, bagging, and materials for establishments within the jurisdiction of the city. Also, executive order was passed on authorized and deputized officers apprehending violators of anti-littering provisions. Next slide, please. I think that ends my presentation. Thank you very much and good afternoon to everyone.
Our next presentation will be from Engineer Crystal Cosido-Comon of the Sustainability Programs of the City of Mandaue.
A pleasant day to each one present here today. On behalf of our City Mayor, thank you for having the City of Mandaue for this local government forum in line with the Building Green Conference 2022. Let me take this opportunity to tell you our story of how our city is addressing its sustainability challenge by developing transparent and inclusive policies and programs. But first, let me introduce to you our small yet progressive Mandaue City.
Located in the central eastern coastal region of the island province of Cebu, is a first-class, highly urbanized city, the city of Mandaue. For years, it has served as a focal point for manufacturing in the country, with many of the region's largest companies operating in the city. World-class furniture is conceptualized, designed, and manufactured in Mandaue before being shipped around the world. This economy is held aloft by a developed workforce of highly skilled and trainable English-speaking residents educated and trained in private and government-funded schools within Mandaue. Economic growth is driven by the close working relationship between the business community and the local government, with business registrations having grown significantly in 2018, rising from over 13,000 to over 20,000. Mandaue City believes that collaboration among the government, local community, and civil society ensures inclusive growth. It is therefore committed to providing effective business registration procedures, promoting small businesses and investments, and nurturing businesses to last. As a result, institutions such as the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Department of Interior and Local Government, and the Department of Trade and Industry have bestowed Mandaue with awards of distinction. Another crucial area of concern that every modern and evolving city must consider is the threat of pollution and traffic. This is why one of the key strategies is enforcing environmental laws, counteracting pollution, and also creating and implementing a comprehensive traffic plan. Mandaue is famous for being a bridge city, not only because of the two major bridges that connect it to Mactan Island, but also it connects visitors and citizens alike to important destinations. Mandaue also serves as the main gateway to mainland Cebu. As such, the city aims to provide the best roads and highways for the driving and commuting public. Since Mandaue became a chartered city in 1969 and recognized as a highly urbanized city in 1991, it has grown into a world-class, livable destination. Mandaue also aims to be an ideal place for urban living. Those planning to move here can choose from sprawling subdivisions, affordable apartments, and high-rise condominiums located all over the city. Commercial and hospitality centers have also sprouted, offering unique experiences for locals and tourists alike to enjoy. Despite its progressive march into the future, Mandaue City does not forget its roots and has made efforts to ensure its culture and history are cared for. In line with these values, a number of heritage houses have been recognized and carefully preserved, keeping their storied histories alive. Mandaue City, a great place to call home, a great place to work in, the ideal investment destination. Choose Mandaue.
The city of Mandaue is a highly urbanized first-class city with a growing economy evidenced by numerous ongoing construction developments in the city. Mandaue's mission is to create an environment for sustainable economic growth and a livable city through responsive governance and multi-sectoral involvement, with a vision to become a resilient city driven by manufacturing-based retail and services MSMEs by 2027. The vision promotes development strategies for sustainable use, land, low carbon buildings, energy efficiency, and efficient transport and environmental management. The implementation of the city's comprehensive land use plan covers the development of green growth areas, green buildings, and the green loop. The focus of the city until 2027 is resiliency to improve the well-being of Mandawihanans and recover from the crisis we have experienced in the past few years, notably the pandemic and effects of the climate crisis like super typhoons. The city's program for environmental and sustainability, guided by the development framework outlined in the CLUP and the city's strategic roadmap, the following are the city's current priority programs and projects. Development of parks and open green spaces. 1. Parks, and 2. green corridors in Butuanan and Mahiga rivers, including other waterways. This will benefit the city and its constituents in terms of environmental protection, outdoor recreation, and growth management. Despite being an industrial city, the city may utilize parks and green corridors as its tourist attractions. Conservation of the mangrove forests, North and South Mangrove Patch. Mandawi recognizes mangroves as a vital resource of the city. Not only are they oxygen suppliers, but they also regulate the rise of sea levels, protect against natural disasters, and contribute to the reduction of greenhouse. Through the mangrove protection projects of the city, the mangrove forest's biodiversity will be protected and preserved. Urban Resiliency Program, or the Climate Change Adaptation Framework. This is a community-based, city-wide assessment to analyze how to protect the environment from urban hazards, whether it's typhoons, flooding, earthquake, or fire, among others. In general, the multi-stakeholder cooperation platforms facilitate learning, analysis, and community assistance analyzing issues and concerns within the communities and sectoral civil society groups that will be affected by the hazards. The creation of the Local Public Transport Route Plan, or the LPTRP, and Mandawi City Bike Network Plan. These plans aim to build a resilient transportation system and infrastructure to achieve smart mobility and sustainable urban services. It helps create it helps increase mobility for vulnerable people and encourages potential bicycle users to commit to active transport. These are aimed to mitigate the contribution of the transport sector to the city's carbon emission. This is also in response to the DOTR requirement for the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program as the government's answer to address the aggravating transport-related problems. These programs of the city enables the health promotion initiative to combat physical inactivity, health issues related to air pollution and environmental health. Resilient socialized housing community, the Dipolo residences. This program aims to provide a safe and resilient community with minimal rent, basic utilities, easy access to basic health and social services, employment opportunities, sufficient open areas for community activities, and green features for overall development and structures. This project is the very first public building to undergo BERDE certification. The Green Building Program. Mandawi City established the Green Building Program to promote the reduction of carbon emissions and efficiency in using natural resources in the building sector. This is the city's policy on improving the resource efficiency of buildings, contributing to the global efforts in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and minimizing the impact of building on global health and the environment. As a key result in the formulation of the Green Building Ordinance, Mandaue won for the DOE Philippines the 2015 APEC Low Carbon Model Town Phase 6 Feasibility Study Grant. According to the final report, the carbon emissions from the road transport sector in Mandaue per capita are 3 times higher than that of the Philippines. However, based on the impact of GHG emissions reductions and the implementation of low carbon measures, the Green Building Program of the city showed the highest projected GHG reduction by 2030. The holistic program promotes sustainability in the design, construction, and operations of buildings within the city of Mandaue. The Green Building Scheme, specified under the ordinance, is Building for Ecologically Responsive Design Excellence, or BERDE. Engaging and empower communities to foster environmental sustainability is not a walk in the park. It takes passion to push your dreams forward, and there is an abundance of passionate people in Mandaue committed to staying the course and moving towards a resilient Mandaue. Again, on behalf of our City Mayor, Mayor Jonas Cortez, I am Engineer Crystal Common for the Green Building Office of Mandaue, thanking you for this opportunity to share our story. Daghang salamat.
Thank you, Engineer Common. We would like to thank the cities for your wonderful and inspiring presentation. And we would like to acknowledge the presence of Engineer Merlina Panganiban of Department of the City of Makati. She's the head of the UDD of Makati. May I invite our speakers to turn on your cameras and join us for the open forum for this episode. As mentioned earlier, you may send your questions for our speakers using the question box. Okay. We have I have a question for the city of Iloilo. Sir, you mentioned, Engineer Reveni, you mentioned about your waste management program. We would just like to ask what inspired the city to develop, to create its waste management program.
Yes.
Yes. Good afternoon, Engineer. Yes.
Yes. Before I was transferred from the General Services Office because the solid waste management is under the department of the General Services Office, and the problem with the solid waste management in the city, it's because we are accepting for about 330 tons of waste every day, and we are operating an open dump site, and the leachate is very bad in the area, and it's near the Kalahunan Creek, and the creek is tributaries of Iloilo River, and the mayor and also Senator Franklin Drilon are monitoring the water quality of Iloilo River, and uh, suggested that an engineered sanitary landfill should be constructed to address the issue of the contamination of leachate in the creeks. So we have now the centralized material recovery facility that will sort the incoming waste or the fresh tippings, and we divided the material recovery facility into two, one for the organic and one for the and we established a category for engineered sanitary landfill to accept the residual waste in that is 330 tons a day.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, sir. Congratulations as well to the city on the successful development on the Iloilo River or estuary. Um, our question for Mandaue. Um, we'd like to know what were your considerations in developing the transportation plans within your city?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. The considerations that we take within the city is because, as mentioned earlier in our video, that we are the gateway, mostly from the cities. So, we have developed the transportation program so that in order for us to cater the possibilities of the routes from other cities, so there we have the route plans from the interconnecting to other cities, so that's why. And also we have developed the bike network plan in order to reduce um the ja, the GHG and the pollution that is coming from other from the vehicles.
Um, just a follow-up question. We all know that it is any program is not possible without without the cooperation of the private sector. How was Mandaue able to motivate the private sector towards the success of your transportation program?
We all know that private sectors are essential for um, the pursuance of the plan. So this we cannot really do it alone. So the private sector should be meeting with us halfway in order for active participation for both the development and the implementation.
Okay, thank you for that. I think I would like to throw this question both to the city of Iloilo and the city of Mandaue. We have very successful programs and I have to say the word inspiring again. But can you share with us the unique strategies that each of your city has implemented that guarantee the success of these programs? Yes, can you hear my question?
Yes. I
Yes.
think here in Iloilo City, it's because the Mayor Jerry P. Treñas is very active and is always asking for the public-private partnership. No, so that is, I think, the secret or the motivation of the mayor, that the relationship of private sector with the local chief executive is very strong in helping the mayors and the implementation of the green infrastructure and any other projects. They are very
For the Mandaue, I think the increased awareness of the importance of these programs by the city um, is, which result to the increased engagement of these stakeholders, make the plans and the programs successful.
Yes, yes, that's true. Engagement really is key to any program success or any plan that the city has for its constituents. Um, yeah, so I think I would like to also ask another question. We all know that for programs there are really a lot of challenges as well as successes, but mostly successes. You know, how were your programs able to guarantee the success, and how were these programs able to overcome these challenges? Yes, Engineer Panganiban, um, yes, I didn't see you in the camera. Sorry, I'd like to apologize. Maybe would like to answer that question first.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Good
Sorry
afternoon, ma'am.
about that. Good afternoon,
I didn't
everyone.
I didn't
Yeah,
see.
because I'm trying to open my camera, but unfortunately I don't know what's the problem because it's my first time to use this application. But I cannot. I don't know. Maybe the audience would not want to see my face, but would want only to hear my voice. Anyway, when I try to share my webcam, it says that I have to log out. So I don't want to log out. So anyway, that's the what makes successful, is that the question? Successful our projects as well as some of
Yes, yes, engineer. It's the question is yeah, for all the programs of the city, there are
yes.
more successes than challenges. I would just like to ask, what how you able to overcome these challenges to guarantee more success for all your programs?
Actually, it was already mentioned in the presentation of our mayor, that the all the stakeholders, especially the private sector, should be involved in the planning, not only in the implementation, but as well as in the planning aspect of the programs, to guarantee, not only to guarantee, to make the programs more uh, successful, as well as, of course, um, all the sectors involving not only the private sectors, as well as um, the students, the workers, everyone should be involved in planning, in identifying which issues should be addressed first or prioritized first. So that's it. As well as, since the government is also has also a limited funds for projects, especially the big ticket projects. We have also partnered with private sectors for the PPP, as you can see in the presentation that the mayor have presented. Of course, the leadership of a mayor is very important in in the identification of the projects, as well as in the implementation. Sabi nga, di ba, political will, di ba? Importante yung political will, kasi pag walang political will, napakahirap mag-implement ng mga projects na magaganda. So, yun. That's for Makati. Thank you.
Yes, I think also that the political will is very evident in our cities who have participated here. It's because the projects are really very successful. We have another question. This applies to all the cities or the LGUs. Aside from tax incentives, what are other benefits that your city offers to developers of green building, such as BREEAM certified projects? I believe the city of Mandaue will be able to cover this.
Yeah,
first.
aside from the fiscal or the tax incentive from we offer the non-fiscal or the building height limit additional FAR. So those are the non-fiscal incentive that we were able to give to those applicants who would like to apply for BERDE.
But yes, we'd like to engineer yes, engineer Panganiban. Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you.
for Makati, I think it's the same as Mandaue. We have also the non-fiscal incentives, which allows developer to apply for additional FAR, or that's equivalent to a gross floor area ratio, or you have to as an additional area to be developed in return for a certification from LEED, Verde, or EDGE. So those are developers just have to present certification from those accredited accrediting body. And we have also awards, as mentioned, in terms of GHG reduction. So those are and we are planning also other rewards or other benefits, just in case the participants have other ideas. Please send us a message or send us a recommendation, suggestion, wherein we can study them further, or you can send it to the PHILGBC National Secretariat, so we can study it further. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Engineer Panganiban. Engineer Ravenna, would you like to share about the tax incentives and other benefits that your city offers to developers of green building, such as those BERDE certified projects?
Yes, I think it's all the same with all other local government units for giving non-fiscal benefits or incentives for the to encourage the developers to include or to have green building initiatives on their projects. I think it's the same.
Yes, thank you for that. So I guess the most common thing here is really the fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, which was mentioned by Mandaue and the city of Makati. And we have okay, and a question for Mr. Reese Villarreal. This is for Engineer Ravenna. The question is, what was the vision behind the tree forest network of Iloilo? Engineer Ravenna. Yes.
Yeah, I beg your pardon, please.
Sir, the question from Mr. Reese Villarreal is, she was asking what was the vision behind the tree forest network of Iloilo?
Yeah, because the mayor was in a travel, and he was able to differentiate the cooler and non-cooler because of the presence of the open spaces and the presence of trees on the areas. And when he get back in the city, and he told us to find some open spaces wherein we could establish tree parks, and he, we are able to establish three kinds of parks, and that is the Hinaktakan mangrove tree parks, Lane Tree Park, which is intended for indigenous trees, and another tree park near coastal area, which is the Boulevard Tree Park, which is exclusive for beach trees or beach forest trees. So it's unique. It's unique because of the specific and uniqueness of each and every tree parks that for indigenous mangroves and beach trees to be planted on those parks. And we have also 7 public plaza which are also being developed, and this is intended for also for the indigenous or endemic species trees like uh, Iloilo tree. So we have discovered that there is an Iloilo tree. So Dongon tree, native of Iloilo province. So the mayor already told us that those trees will be planted on the 7 districts of Iloilo City, which are public plaza also of the city.
Yes, we have another follow-up question also from Ms. Villarreal regarding also the Tree Forest Network. She asked, is the Tree Forest Network a local project or is it with other private partners?
Yes, tree parks are project which involves public and private partnership, no? So we have the Association of Architects, or the UAP here in Iloilo City, Iloilo City chapter. So I think the one of the architects is the top notcher of the board in 2021, which is from ISAT University. So she's one of those architects that partnered with the Iloilo City to develop the tree park. And another private company is the Globe and the Zoological Society of London. So those are partners with partnered with Iloilo City to develop the tree parks.
Yes, thank you for that, sir. We have a question from Mr. Andres Muego. This is for Engineer Comon. How do you relate the reclamation projects to the city's sustainability goals? And what low carbon measures will be considered for these reclamation projects?
Yes, thank you for the question. Um, uh, Perhaps I can say that these reclamation projects, we see to it that these developments within the projects, these reclamation projects are would be getting the certification for the Verde so that um, we can we can assure that the concerns and environmental concerns are properly addressed. So we see to it that these developers and developments would get the Verde certification.
Yes, thank you for that answer, Engineer Common. I think we have one last question that is from Rich Gamba. This goes out to the cities of Makati, Iloilo, and Mandaue. The question is, he would like to know the short and term medium plans on water management in Makati, Iloilo, and Mandaue. Uh, Engineer Panganiban, would you like to answer first?
Yes. So water management. Very how I see it. We have right now a short-term project wherein we are recovering the easements in the water. You see the creeks, especially the creek areas, and then since most of the easement on our creeks uh, are occupied by informal settlers. So we are recovering those easements as well as redevelop those areas as linear parks or small pocket parks right now. And for Pasig River, which is the largest uh, body of water in our locality, it's more of coordination with the DNR and the other national government agencies because we cannot make or prepare a plan for the Pasig River. Yes. Unfortunately, we don't have uh uh uh, uh we don't there's no presence of water resources in Makati as in Iloilo as in and Mandaue. So thank you.
Thank you, Engineer. What about Engineer Ravenna, sir?
Yes, for the short-term uh, projects, so as we save Iloilo River as a source of our water also, we have Iloilo River, a long stretch of 20 kilometers of Iloilo River. And for our long-term solution, we are thankful to Senator Franklin Drilon for the infrastructure project, the Halaor River Dam projects on the upstream of Iloilo province. So we are assured of a water supply here in the city. Uh, and at the same time, the local water district in Iloilo City also partner or a joint venture project with Metropac for the water distribution here in Iloilo City. So I think that is the two major projects for the short-term and long-term solutions for water management here in the city.
Thank you for that answer, Engineer Ravenna. What about Engineer Common?
Yes, for the Mandawi City, currently the city is doing a study for water management framework to tap the um, to address the water crisis. Also, we are also coordinating with other LGUs, especially Cebu City, since we are the catchment from their water waste there. So, but currently we are also having the national projects within the city for slow protection and all other concerns with regards to our wastewater management.
Thank you for that, Engineer Common. One last question before we wrap up and close the open forum. We'd just like to ask, what is one win or strategy do you think the rest of the cities and municipalities in the Philippines can learn from your sustainability successes. I guess let's start with Engineer Ravenna.
The very strong partnership with the private sector, and at the same time the political will of our local chief executive by the person of Mayor Treñas, and at the same time the coordination and the participation of the stakeholders, the active participation of the stakeholders is the success story of all the projects and the green initiatives of the city of Iloilo. So we started with Iloilo River, and now it spread among the infrastructure along Iloilo River, that the sector and at the same time other stakeholders that are involved now on the green infrastructure being developed by the city, and the development or the rapid urbanization is balanced with the protection and preservation of environment.
Yes, thank you for that, Engineer Ravenna. Now we'd like to ask the City of Makati, Engineer Panganiban.
Yes, again, as mentioned also by engineer from Iloilo, political will, bam, uh, private partnerships, as well as involvement of all stakeholders in the city, and of course, you also credit that to innovativeness of the not only the mayor but all the the persons or the local officials involved in the creation and establishment of the PPAs, and most especially is to act now. 'Di ba? Palaging act, hindi lang puro plano, we should act also. So, yun. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Engineer Panganiban. Engineer Comon of
Yes,
Mandaue.
for Mandawi City, will just be, I think I will just be saying that increased awareness of these programs is the important thing that will result for increased engagement from our both internal and external stakeholders.
Thank you. Yes, I think that wraps up our open forum. And we would like to acknowledge and thank the city of Mandaue, Iloilo City, and Makati City, and the representatives, Engineer Comon, Engineer Ravenna, and Engineer Panganiban. And also, and the mayors, Mayor Abigail Binay, Mayor uh, Jerry Treñas, and Mayor Mayor Cortez of Mandaue. Thank you so much for this. And also, we'd like to thank our participants for joining us for episode 3. Next week, we will be kicking off our celebration of the World Green Building Week with episode 4, The World, to share with you the global programs of the World Green Building Council and to hear from leaders from the national GBCs, from the World GBC Asia Pacific Regional Network on their green building programs in the region. In the afternoon, episode 5, The Women in Green Building, will feature inspiring women from the private and public sectors of the building industry. Understand the unique style and learn the key role they play in pursuing and achieving the sustainability goals of the organization. Please scan the QR codes for each episode to register or contact the PHILGBC National Secretariat through BG2022 at philgbc.org for more information. To officially close this episode, we have Mr. Edgar Cepidong, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the PhilGBC, and Chief Sustainability Officer of Artha Land Corporation.
Thank you to all participants of Episode 3, the Local Government Forum, as part of the Building Green Conference 2022. Thank you to all our speakers for sharing their time and insight. Makati City Mayor Marlene Abigail Binay, Iloilo City Mayor Jerry Trenas, Engineer Neil Ravena, Acting Senro of Iloilo City, and Engineer Crystal Camon, Building Office of Mandaue City. This episode is in PHILGBC's advocacy to work with and support government in promoting and developing policies on sustainability. We commend the local government units in formulating and implementing strategic, effective, and appropriate policies that address the environmental challenges unique to their locality. We look forward to the opportunity to continue our work with you in making our built environment safer places to live, to work, and to play. In closing, I'd like to thank you for our BG2022 sponsors and your sustained support. We have our gold strategic partner, NEO. We have Aboitiz Infra Capital Economic Estates, City Homes Builder and Development, Inc. And for our silver strategic partners, World Vision Corporation, Daikin Air Conditioning Philippines, and First Balfour. We have our bronze strategic partners, Monocrete Construction Philippines, Botanica Nature Residences, Philinvest City, FPD Asia, AGC Asia Pacific, and Datem Incorporate. Please join us in our upcoming episodes. Episode 4, The World, on Monday, 12 September 2022 at 9 a.m. And Episode 5, The Women in Green Building, on Monday also, 12 September at 1:30 p.m. Please visit philgbc.org for more information or contact the PhilGBC National Secretariat at BG2022@philgbc.org. Once again, thank you to all for your participation in today's episode 3, the Local Government Forum. Good afternoon to you all.